the measures the ministry is taking to ensure that the school-going children, especially the KCPE and KCSE candidates, are not adversely affected by the proposed evictions. Number 6, provide details of the area in hectares of the forests that have so far been restored after the phase 1 and after the phase 1 evictions, and the budget expended for that exercise. And lastly, last but not the least, you provide the details of the measures that the ministry has put in place in regard to the post-eviction conservation works vis-a-vis the budgetary provisions, personnel, corporate social responsibility, and other logistical arrangements. Those are some of the issues which we are seeking from you. But arising out of the discussion, members will be able to ask other subsequent supplementary questions. But at the same time, this committee is extremely very keen to know. I remember we had a sitting with you earlier. You took us through the historical perspective of the encroachment of Mau. But we're also very keen to get the list of the persons who are responsible for expanding or encroaching into the forest. Because initially, especially in Masai Mara block, we have the issues, we had the group branches, the boundaries were very clear, but when the survey was being done, that's the time now the encroachment started. So we are very keen to get the list, if you have it, or the people who are responsible behind the encroachment of Mau, and what the government have been doing, because we have so many task forces which has undertaken these exercises in terms of conservation. What are the government done in terms of prosecution of the people who are responsible for the encroachment of Mau? So, Bwana Cabinet Secretary, at this juncture, I want to invite you so that you can be able to respond to those issues as raised in our letter.
Thank you very much, Chairman and honorable members. As Chairman, you have already alluded to, I actually appeared before this committee last year, specifically the 13th of August. I think a year now. And in your invitation, dated the 24th of July 2018, one of the issues that I was required to address you upon was, and I quote, the details of evictions happening at the Mau Forest Complex, the rationale, the background, the strategy of conservation of the complex in a foreseeable future, and secondly, the status of restoration of the reclaimed land from the forest. You will note that those issues are not dissimilar from the issues to be discussed and canvassed today. I appeared before this committee as presently constituted, and I addressed the committee in great length, 4 hours. I tabled before this committee a report that runs into how many pages? Several pages, actually. This is as well as a summarized and a bridge version of that report, as well as a total of 18 annexes, which are here. I would want to believe, because in that report that I presented here, a lot of the issues that, Chairman, you have summarized in your current invitation are really addressed in that report. So from time to time, I'll be referring to that report, as I shall also be referring to the annexures to that report, which I have no doubt at all, knowing this committee and the energy and tenacity of the members of this room, that they have fully read and appreciated the contents of those documents. Now, coming to the present invitation, we have circulated a much shorter response this time, addressing the specific questions and also the annexures. Now, why are we here as a country? How did we come about here? Why is it so important? Because we are dealing with one of the most critical water towers in this country. We are dealing with a vital ecological asset. We're dealing with a source of several rivers. They're all set out in the report, and I'm sure you members and chair are already familiar about. Source of several rivers, including the tributaries that feed into and form the Mara River Basin. Ewasonyiro, Sekinter, and others. We are dealing with an ecosystem that is a hotspot on biodiversity. It has unique fauna and flora, some of them endemic. We are dealing with an asset, an ecological asset that sustains life, not just for the residents of the county of Narok, where it is situated, Kajiado, the iconic Masai Mara, that has recently been categorized as the 8th wonder of the world, depends wholly on the Mara River Basin. There cannot be Masai Mara without the Mara River. And there cannot be, and I would challenge anyone who has evidence to the contrary, there cannot be a Mara River without the Masai Mara Forest Complex. But it goes beyond Kenya. And as a result of the destruction of this ecosystem, the consequences are only too obvious. Mara River is on its deathbed. supplies water to the Mara Serengeti, supplies water to Lake Natron. 5% of water into Lake Victoria, and of course, from there, the Nile, is from the Mara River Basin. 5%. It's not just for human beings, livestock, but also importantly, wildlife. Kenya has entered into regional and global treaty obligations relevant to this subject matter. In 2015, we signed an MOU with Tanzania for the conservation, protection of the Mara River Basin, which sustains directly 1.5 million lives of people. As we speak now, Chairman, on the 15th of September, that is in the next few days, we will be celebrating what we call, and we have celebrated since 2012, the Mara Day. We have celebrated it last year in Bomet, the other years in Narok, and for this year, celebrating it in Tanzania, a place called Mugumu, next to a swamp that from there drains into Lake Victoria. Because of the destruction of the Mau, the Masai Mau, the quantity and quality of water that sustains life has diminished seriously. It is our responsibility under that treaty obligation to protect the catchment of this river. We will be participating in the celebration, and we will be hard pressed to explain why, how. I'm raising this, Chairman and honorable members, so that we can remove this myopic way of looking at this huge issue, as if it is an issue between tribes, as if it is an issue to do with politics, political formations, and political calculation. It is not. It is also a gazetted water tower. And I'm sure we will be engaging in this discussion about trust land forest. Others call it settlement schemes. We will be addressing that in the course of these deliberations. So what happened? In its original pristine state, The Masai Mara, the Masai Mara water tower measured about 46,000 hectares in its original state. It was one of the 22 blocks forming the Mao Forest Complex. Then what happened? 5 group ranches adjoining. Do you have that list? Why is there? Where's your book? The documents. 5 group ranches I'll submit shortly. The documents are. Where is the table showing the breakdown of branches? Chairman, just give me this. Sorry, 5 group ranches. Sorry, Chairman, I think we've wrong. Looks like some 5 group ranches adjoining the Mau Forest were the following. And we will present in the documents, I think, one of our officers. We had a group ranch called Sisian Group Ranch, which, when it was created and registered and title issued, measured 444 hectares. 444 hectares. At the time when it was being dissolved, so title, it is registered, it has its officials, it has its title with acreage of 444 hectares. So, did you make copies?
Yes.
Can you distribute? Distribute the copies. Now, when it was dissolved and individualized through brazen act of criminality, fraud, that area was extended or ballooned from 444 to 1,215 hectares, creating an additional area of.
Point of order.
Yes.
Point of order, Chair.